5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Another wonderful November edition here. I'm a huge fan of the fall. As everyone knows, the weather here, given the Sherpa sweater, is getting very Wisconsin-y here. So today's episode is called Just Ask. Okay. So I'm going to start you off with a fun little one. So I had a client approach me about a vendor, and he was like, look, I want to get this. I want to try this vendor, but this is the price that they're hitting me at. Right. And I just don't see it. I don't want to do it. And he said, so I think I'm just going to pass. And I said, well, is there a number? I'm a car guy, people. Okay. So my whole life is like, how do I make a deal? Where do we find the deal? There's typically a deal everywhere, right? If you're looking for it, in my opinion. And so this is a deal. Client is interested in the product. He knows it, but he doesn't want to spend the money. So then we have to have a little bit of a quick therapy session, find out the why. Why do you want to spend money? What is it that you're trying to fix? I'm trying to cure this issue, and this is how I think I can cure it, but I don't want to pay this much to cure it. Well, how much is it worth to you to cure it? It's worth this. This is about, 50% less than the offer. And I said, well, where'd you get the number? Well, I got the number from what I'm willing to pay. That's what I like to call dealer math, folks. Okay. Dealer math is whatever the fuck they want it to be. It's the way it is. And I've respected it my entire life. So I get it. So I'm like, all right, let's go ask. And he's like, don't waste your time. So why not? It's an email. What does it take me to ask? Because what if I ask at 50% off? He comes back at 25, and just like a good old car deal, we meet here in the middle and we move on, right? And he says, yeah, go ahead, ask. So I ask. This company's a little bit younger. They're hungry. They're aggressive. And they're like, we won't do that, but we'll do this. And guess what? It was better than the split. It was closer to the 50 than the 25. And it's a home run. Clients on. Clients happy. Okay. That is a win. We like those. W. Chalk it up. Okay. Next fun version of this. We had a client looking for content. Okay. I have a bunch of friends that do content. They all do content in different ways, in different industries, and they're all very busy and they're very good at what they do. So when I call them, what I'm looking for from them is who they know that might be the up and comer in their area, or some, typically content creators know other content creators. And so you can really work your way through that. And so I called a good friend of mine who is really, really, really sharp at what he does. And I said, hey, looking for this, need this number of content pieces, need this, need that. What do you think that's worth? This is what we're thinking to pay. And he's like, I think that's good money. I'm like, cool. He's like, and I'll do it. And I was like, I wasn't asking you to do it. I'm not trying to insult you by offering you to do it. And he's like, no, it's new, it's different. And it's something I don't have a background in. And I want to get a background in it, and I want to get into it. Interesting. And I only knew this because I asked. And that conversation's developed and it's been great. The people that have hired him love what he does for their brands. They love it. And it's something that, again, I wouldn't have even thought about unless I asked. And in general, I've talked about this on the show before. We had a episode a couple weeks ago called Ask for Help. So this isn't anything new, folks. Just ask. The last one is more in our defense than it is a just ask situation, but we still had to just ask to get it. So how does it go? It goes like this. Third-party provider comes out with the standard yearly, we're going to raise your price. It's been a few years. This is what we're going to propose. It's a 3-store group, middle of America. We expected as a group price increase to come. We all were. We all knew it was happening because it had been a minute. So we were cool with it. Of our 3 stores, they hit our top biggest store with an outrageous 300% increase to the bill. I mean, outrageous print number. Okay. When we saw it. Hits our middle store at exactly what would be expected, and tried to double, 100% increase our smaller store. So me and the head of marketing, we put our heads together. And of course, on my end, I don't like to talk about the emotion of things. I like to talk about the facts of things. I like to talk about the data of things. Facts, not feelings. Call out Brooke Furness. That's what we're trying to do. So the vendor wants to have a call with us. Okay. That's fine. I live for those calls because again, I come locked and loaded with facts and I have CRM data. I have their dashboard data. And you always have to remember when you go into these conversations and they start into their data and all their puking on you, make sure that the first thing you do is clarify what everyone considers, in this case, a connection, what that meant versus what we track as cost per lead numbers like phone calls, emails, chats, because that's why they think they're doing this like big job. But for what we pay, it's not enough of a job, you see? So that becomes our issue with it. Anyways, we agree to a call. Now, anyone who's ever Zoomed with me knows that this doesn't happen. What's happening right now with all of us does not happen on Zoom, okay? What happens on Zoom is the company logo and a black background because I don't use cameras, because if we're trying to talk about business, I don't need to look at you. And especially if you're sharing a screen, side tangent here, stop putting yourself on fucking video. Okay, so we're done with the video thing. Now, if I bring you into this world, I can tell you this rep was on video. The rep began to talk, said their bit, then opened the floor up to my client who graciously gave me the floor. And as I began to speak, and as I began to get, sort of into the facts, into the weeds, everyone could feel what I was doing. And we all sort of saw the vendor start to get very uncomfortable. Because ultimately, the rep that we deal with this isn't her call. It's not her. This is her job. This is not her call. So we respect that. We said it to her multiple times. I think we negotiate very, very fairly and very upfront. However, 300% increase was completely unacceptable. As a matter of fact, ownership previous to any of this had sort of been in the, what do we do? And I said 20% gain to any bill in today's market is more than fair. Okay, it's more than fair. 20% of a bill is more than fair. So in our call, I said, when asked, well, we're going to need a 12-month agreement. Absolute non-starter. Absolute non-starter. 12-month contract should be non-starters for any of you. Do not get into them. It is a lock into something you know nothing about. Do not do that. Do not do that. You do not have to do that in any form in automotive really anymore. My company's been month to month for over a decade. It's cost me absolutely zero to do that. Zero to do that. So just keep in mind how if you do business the right way, people will pay you, and that's how relationships can work. The year contract stuff typically is about we're not sure what we can do, but we know we need you to pay us for a year to find out. That we're not into. We push aside. Next, where do we come to? Well, we come to the 20% increase, the offer, right? How did we do it? We asked. We asked and we said, hey, how can we get this? Where can we get this? Right? That's what we're after. Those are the discussions that I'm trying to have with people because at the end of the day, we respect the increase, but we will only pay 20%. Well, how do you get to your number? Well, this is how I get to my number because I'm fortunate to have a database of clients that we work with from California to New York. We have information. We see what people negotiate. We see large group negotiation, small group negotiation, single store negotiation, and we try to normalize that negotiation and say, these are the percentage of increases that we have seen. This is what we deem acceptable for our clients. We also make clear to people that this isn't a situation where we're going to keep coming back to you. If you say no, we say no, then we're cool. We'll move on. But we also know in certain markets, the size of this particular group has the ability to do that. So there are ways to stretch it. Here's what I'll ask you to do. I'll ask you to go out and ask your vendors more questions, get more involved, and you won't know until you ask. Go out, have yourselves a great week, and we'll see you again next week.